Okay, so for my first one, I kind of got like I have one, and then I have my 2 and 3, and they kind of like came together just because of coincidental timing, and it's actually a very beautiful thing. But my first one would just be both of my parents. You know, my father and my mother for various reasons. My father because he's the hardest working man I know, and he came from nothing and made his own sheet metal business, and beyond that, you know, beyond his fabulous work ethic, he was so selfless with me and my brother, and he was there for everything. Like he was the poster child of being there as a father, and you know, he taught me, you know, how to anything from, you know, critical thinking to throwing a baseball to camping to talking with other people, you know, whether they're business people or not business people. Just the man just showed me how to really be a kind, efficient person, and he was always there for me. My mom, on the other hand, was so selfless in everything she's done, and she's always on top of what I needed or what I wanted or any discomforts I may had, and so they're my inspiration to keep going. And even with my acting, they think I got it, you know. They totally believe in me. In fact, before I even started acting, my dad would always be like, "You'd be a great thespian." He'd always say that to me. I didn't even know what a thespian was, and I was just like, "Yeah, I got you." Like, but yeah. So they've always supported me and had trust in me. They've always had trust in me, which I've always really appreciated. And for the second thing, I'd have to say my friend Brooke Dix, because she was my friend from 2 years ago. She's still around, okay, first of all. Still is my friend, still here today. You know, but she was someone that, she's not like the most warm, personable person in the world, especially back 2 years ago when I met her. But she really taught me, she was probably the first person who really taught me to unapologetically be yourself. Like, and she was not like, you know, sunshine and rainbows and everything. She was, if she had like a statement about something, she would say it. And she wouldn't argue over anything. She wouldn't condemn you for an opinion you'd have, but she would be damned if she didn't share her opinion on something and, you know, have her voice heard. And then we'd always just debate about things. And it would always be about the truth. Like, it was never about winning an argument or anything. It'd always been like being, like, finding the truth in things. And so I think about her when I start to develop into like an actual person, you know, with individuality, and then coupled with that, when we started becoming friends 2 years ago, we went to a theater competition in Hawaii, and I remember my friend Octafay had a really, really bad night, like just terrible. Like we found her crying walking down the street. It was that bad, and so we brought her back up to the room. And I was like, "Hey man, like let's go talk, you know, let's go chat." And, you know, she explained her situation. I gave her some very nice advice about things, and she told me, her saying was, "Here's a nugget of knowledge as a token of my gratitude to you," because she's 31, so she's like, you know, like a person. Like I was 19, I was like not quite a person yet.
You were informed.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I was getting there. But she told me, anyone who knows Bill McGuire, if you don't, you got to get on that.
Oh, legend.
If you do, Bill
Let's
is
go.
this straight dad material. Like, this guy's the best. He's the best. So she says, "Aaron, why do you think everybody likes Bill?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Everybody just kind of loves Bill. He's Bill." And he's like, "Exactly. He's Bill. Bill knows what he wants. Bill knows who he is, his desires, his purpose, his role in various things as either student or a teacher, you know, whatever. And he's never sorry about it because he never has to be sorry about it. It's because it's not like he's evil. It's not like he has something to gain. It's not like he's something, you know, that's a menace. But he's himself. And that's it." And so when I got that information, I was like, wow, like, that makes a lot of sense. And at this time, I was hanging out with my friend Brooke Dixon, who was that person, you know. She wasn't the most, you know, like I said, outgoing, like stoked on life person, but she was herself. She was definitely herself. And so those two, that person and that event, really coupled together, really kind of taught me how to be like a man, you know, like how to be my own person, how to think for myself and engage with others accordingly. And so yeah, those are probably the three things that that inspired me the most today. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, the first thing that inspires me, that I instantly think of, is when I was at a very young age, like, I can't remember, I was probably like six or seven, and I saw the original Star Wars trilogy for the first time. And I saw the first episode. It was New Hope. And watching that movie, you know, getting involved in all these characters and like just getting thrown into the story, is like, this is pretty cool, you know. Yeah. And the second you meet Harrison Ford's character, Han Solo, and the second I saw him on screen, you know, just chilling in the cantina, looking like a badass, you know. And then Obi-Wan and Alec Guinness and Mark Hamill come up to him and approach him, and they, I forget what his first line is, but you know, it's something super sly. And at that moment, like, I was like, I want to be this guy. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to act. This guy's having a blast, you know, making this movie, and you know, seeing all these different sets and, you know, different visual effects, and just that's really the first movie where like I started dissecting each like scene, and you know, thinking about how they come up with this or how this come together, you know. And yeah, I'd have to thank Harrison Ford for that brilliant performance in the first movie, because that just made me want to become an actor. And next, I'd have to talk about the sweet stash that inspires me. No. No.
It brightens your day every time you see your reflection.
Exactly. No, but I mean, you can't talk about inspiration, I think, without talking about music, at least for me. I mean, when I was really young, my parents, thank God, they raised me right and introduced me to so many classic rock bands, you know, Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, Steely Dan, you know, whatever you name it. And from that point, you know, listening to all these bands, I would like want to discover more of this type of music. So I was like, what do these artists listen to? What do they like? You know, what inspires these artists? And, you know, by that I discovered, you know, like Fats Domino and B.B. King and, you know, Frank Sinatra, a bunch of people. And yeah, just the music, in my opinion, all the gold is in the past. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. There's great stuff coming out today still. I see you, Quinn. But that's just what I love. You know, I feel like back then, you know, music had more of a, not purpose, but they more or less had something to say. There was really always a message. Like, it wasn't just talking about, you know, like partying or, you know, having a good time or, you know, picking up chicks, whatever. They were talking about real issues, and you know, I really enjoyed that. And
like,
you know,
I did it my way.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Tupac and Biggie and how rap is nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. I love those guys. But yeah, gotta note that. And you know, the music aspect of just everything, like every time I listen to a song, I always think, where can I put this in a film? You know, where would this fit? What kind of? I always have a scene in my head whenever I'm jamming out in my car. Every time I'm always thinking, where could this fit? And I've always wanted to make a movie, you know, surrounded by you know, music, real big music components. Like if anybody saw Baby Driver,
Yes.
I like literally had that idea like 4 years ago, and you know, Edgar Wright beat me to it. But I think that film's phenomenal. You know, all the music cues, everything, you know, in sync with everything. It's fantastic.
And how he uses music to cope with everything.
Yeah, I love it. I love every explanation is perfect for that, and I'd love to make something like that. So that just, again, music, you know, inspires me to think the way I think. And lastly, we'd have to talk about, there's a show on Netflix, I forget when the first season came out, I think it was 2015, 2014, but it's a Netflix show called Master of None. If anybody's seen it, yeah, great show. If you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. And when I first saw it, I mean, I love Aziz Ansari, like, he's hilarious. I love his stand-up, everything he's in. And so when I found out he was doing the show, I checked it out, you know, binge watched the whole thing, was totally engaged, and you know, I saw this story with this you know, lead brown guy. Like, you don't see that anywhere really, you know, and that really spoke to me. I was like, damn, you know, they're defying expectations, and, you know, maybe that could be me one day. And in the show, like, I see a lot of similarities with myself and his character, and the way he interacts. I love to think of that show as the brown guy's Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, just seeing, you know, things in Hollywood, you know, develop and, you know, getting away from the status quo, that makes me happy. So
That's great.
those are 3 things.
Thank you
Mhm.
very
Yeah,
much.
thank you.